Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Quick look here again at ICP, double checking some things. Looks like we are rejecting quite normally off of this most recent point of control. This is a really common thing that happens with head and shoulder patterns. I'm not saying this is exactly one, but it does pretty much have the makings of it. And we can see here with the price action coming back into that local resistance, we're starting to get more selling pressure. So that could imply that the $10.20 mark is that current resistance range, and the likelihood of the price going further down from here is higher. Once again, this is kind of based on the premise that Bitcoin's going to pull back. So we're going to go ahead and take a look here and kind of see what's going on and if ICP has any liquidation levels. While we're waiting for that to load, I want to say a quick congrats to our folks here, community members. Good 20% profit from a Bitcoin short, Solana 22%, Near Protocol 30%. Those are all shorts. We pretty much have all shorts open right now. We closed out a long in the red essentially before it got too out of control here earlier. So again, a lot of different ways that you can approach things, but generally speaking, we like to be conservative and make sure we work within our means here. So let's talk about this here. This is a pretty heavy concentration of liquidation, much closer to the price action right now at about that $9.30 mark. So $9.20, $9.30. We got about $50 million in liquidation. And we do take a look at the bigger picture. Excuse me. We can see a lot of liquidation between 920 and low as 760. Okay, so again, a lot of liquidation down there below the price action. I'm not proposing we're going to see $8 or lower, but I can tell you though that low $9 mark seems to be more sensible at this point, just based on the overall way that things are going. And if you saw my analysis from yesterday, I was bearish on ICP. I'll probably still be that way today. It just depends on how the analysis looks. Again, I don't wake up each day being like, I'm going to go ahead and short this coin just because I don't like it or because yesterday it looked good or bad. Today's today. We look at today and we analyze and understand if it's worthwhile keeping the short position open, which we have a short with ICP open, which is presently at break even if I'm not mistaken, and or do we consider closing and flipping to a long, right? Well, truth is Bitcoin is showing not a lot of strength here. Had a false positive at 67,000, rejected off that point of control, that more recent resistance level. So honestly, I think ICP is probably due to correct itself a little further. Once more, let's go ahead and see and not be biased when we take a look here. So quickly to understand, this is something that's consistent with a lot of coins. We have a lot of stochastic divergences on the daily. Okay, basically just means it's been too high for too long and it has to come down. What goes up must come down, as kind of like similar to a balloon. You know, no matter what, it's always going to eventually pull back because it runs out of helium or whatever it is you put in there, right? So when we look at the RSI, we're still over 50 though, so that's a good sign, generally favorable. We can also see we got a decent amount of support here where there's been 4 or 5 days where the price action hasn't closed below 965. So hypothetically, a closure below 965 could spell further downside. MACD is starting to diverge, losing its momentum, letting us know that all these days of continuation, profits are going to be secured. We also got a fair value gap here at about $9 even, running concurrent with that liquidation. We can also double check here on the 4 hour if this is still the same. It does appear to be. We are under 50 on the RSI and held there fairly strong. So it does imply that we're still on the bearish side of things. It doesn't mean the price can't still recover or that we can't shift gears here, so to speak. It just tells us that we got this initial rejection off a key level resistance, which is that local point of control, and it would make sense for the price to continue to come lower. Once again, there's no guarantees in that. It just depends on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's slightly rallying here since we started recording, a good 0.5% up, and most coins are getting that little positive response. Okay, so that's kind of standard here. We can see, of course, stochastic is trying to swing down. MACD is still diverging. So from a momentum standpoint, we can still see ICP is struggling. We also want to recognize that we're below 50 and the 20-day SMA. Generally unfavorable. It kind of lets us know that we've broken through somewhat of an ascending trend line, which in this case here is not exact, but we do have this ascending trend line here. A lot of times trend lines will run concurrent with moving averages. This is kind of an ugly one just based on how it's shaped and it's arced, but generally speaking here, breaking below this ascending trend line would be disadvantageous, but also being below the 50 on both the SMA and the RSI is generally unfavorable. Okay. So we can kind of summarize here that the 4 hour time frame looks more bearish than bullish. When we take a look at the hourly, we're below all moving averages for the moment. And we take a quick look here at the cloud. We're still rejecting out at the cloud, which is again averaging itself out at the more local point of control at that 1020 mark. So 1020 is the new resistance for ICP. We're going to need a solid candlestick closure above that level to have any legs to stand on as far as further upside. I think it's pretty safe to presume that the price should continue lower. However, if we double check this here, we can see the lagging span is within the price action, generally unfavorable conditions to take a long or short. And the same thing here as well, with conversion line being above the baseline, telling us we have some momentum, but it's getting fizzled out pretty quick here by the lower lead on the cloud. So me personally, again, at this point, I don't see any reason to consider a long position. We need a solid closure at about 1020 or higher, in my personal opinion, to warrant such things. Okay, I would even say probably safer 1050 or higher, because that's also been a previous resistance based on daily candlestick closures. So just some things to kind of be mindful of when you take trades, right? So is it exact science? No, but you increase your odds of statistical probabilities going in either direction. That's kind of what we're doing here. I hope this made sense. I described this correctly. Make sure you trade ICP on the world's best exchange. This is a phenomenal exchange, no KYC or VPN required. We've used them as a community for almost a year now, and they've been excellent to us. So thanks again so much for the awesome feedback, and to my community as well for the wonderful signals. Keep in mind too, I do have trade alerts now where I provide you with specific notifications for coins that I'm planning to take trades with. And I also have live charts here too, where I update these weekly for more of a macro analysis on my charts. So go ahead, get on in there, check it out if you want. It's all available for you. If you don't see it, just make sure you enable all channels. I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.